Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Word in Season. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for the Rodgers family. Anna got COVID just before Easter, so we were all isolating together, and for like 5 days, Seb and I managed to avoid it. I thought for a second that we might have some kind of superpower, both me and my son. We must be immune, which would be incredible, right? But then we got COVID, and so our period of isolation started again. We were so close to being free, but then we were in isolation for another 7 days, and it was a little annoying, I'll be honest with you. We were 2 days from getting out and tasting sweet freedom, only for that to kind of disappear before our eyes and for our isolation to start again. And it threw a whole lot of things into chaos. There was a whole lot of really amazing things coming up as well. I was supposed to be speaking at Easter on Sunday. I was supposed to MC Good Friday. It was just really, really unideal timing. And I remember on the Tuesday morning when Anna tested positive and the mad scramble began, I remember taking just a moment to sit and process everything that was happening. And as I was sitting there, this little voice in my head said something like, if the Lord wanted it to be different, then it would be different. If He wanted it to be different, then it'd be different. Now, I wouldn't say that I'm the most sensitive or discerning person when it comes to the voice of the Holy Spirit. I don't have a prophetic gift or anything like that, but I felt like that was God reassuring me that actually everything was going to be okay. And what's really interesting about that is that even though my circumstances hadn't changed, I felt different. I had a sense of peace internally in me because I was reminded of the great sovereignty and power of God. The great truth that actually God has got this. He doesn't need me. He chooses to include me in the ministry of His kingdom, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. But the truth is, He doesn't need me. He lit a bush on fire to encounter Moses and to speak to him. He used a donkey to speak to a guy named Balaam. He uses dreams and visions and everyday conversations to speak to people all the time. He's got this. If He wanted it to be different, then it would be different. It reminded me of a passage in Acts chapter 17 when Paul paints this beautiful picture of the sovereignty of God. He says this, he says, the God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth, and does not live in temples built by human hands, and He is not served by human hands as if He needed anything. Rather, He Himself gives everyone life and breath and everything else. From one man He made all the nations that they should inhabit the whole earth. And He marked out their appointed times in history and the boundaries of their lands. God did this so that they would seek Him and perhaps reach out for Him and find Him, though He is not far from any one of us. For in Him we live and move and have our being. There's just something about the sovereignty of God that brings amazing peace to His people, even in the midst of what can be really difficult circumstances, things that might be well outside of our control. And I think that comes back to the level of trust that we have and who God is, the depth of love and care that He has for us. And that comes back to the cross. You see, the cross says to me that He's good, truly good. The cross says that He cares about me and about what's happening in my life. The cross says that He's for me and that He's willing to get His hands dirty. And knowing all of that, and knowing it's that God who sits in authority over all things, then you would understand why His sovereignty and power brings peace, because it genuinely is good news for you and me. The God of the universe, who loves us with a depth of love that we really don't understand. The God who became a servant, laid down His life to set us free. That God is sovereign. even over your circumstances, no matter what they are. It's an incredible truth that brings us hope and peace.